Start this morning once again in the state of Georgia, where according to a new Morning Consult poll, Donald Trump is still the favorite by a wide margin to win the GOP nomination, but he's also running neck and neck with President Biden in the general election, and that is causing at least some concern within the party.
Plus, Hunter Biden's lawyer asking a federal judge to withdraw from the case because he could now be called as a witness in the case. We'll have more on this coming up.
A wild development there. Plus, in Hawaii, the death toll has now climbed to 106 people. It's expected to go up 8 days after the devastating wildfires broke out there. President Joe Biden making his first public comments on the devastation a full week later, just days before the president starts another week-long vacation, this time in Lake Tahoe. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, back to the Trump indictment and where things go from here.
And joining us now is Trump attorney and general counsel for the Save America PAC, Alina Habba. Thanks so much for joining us. How is this a state case and not a federal case when he was president when this allegedly happened?
That's by design. Everything is by design. So Georgia state is bringing a charge that absolutely should be in federal court. Election, anything having to do with constitutional basis, election issues at this level with a president should 100% be in federal court. If you ask me what I really think, I think she did it on purpose so that if he is president, he can't pardon himself if he's convicted.
Right.
But there are processes for that. We know those processes very well, and we will probably be asking for removal to another venue and to move it to federal court.
In your opinion, are all these prosecutors coordinating?
We know they're coordinating. Look at what she said in her press conference. She said that she was asked a direct question, have you spoken to Jack Smith? She would not answer the question. When people don't answer a question and are evasive, that's an answer. That's an answer for you.
Now, wouldn't they as attorneys coordinate? Because you would not coordinate, but have conversations, right? Because of all these cases happening. Don't you think they'd have some sort of phone call or email?
No, because they're supposed to be independent. Special counsel Jack Smith is an independent special counsel. He's not a normal attorney. He is independent. He is supposed to be an investigator that has his team then prosecute. That's how it was supposed to be. Instead, he's coordinating and frankly leading a PAC. I'm not sure who the leader of the PAC is at this point, other than, probably the president himself, Biden, or Merrick Garland. But we should not be having the coordination. The only coordination that should be happening is with judges who are supposed to be setting trial schedules and checking the other schedules. That's for the judges to do, not for prosecutors to do.
Right. Well, coincidentally, in at least 3 of these 4 cases, all these trials are going to start within 35 days of each other. Coincidentally, right in smack dab the middle of primary season, New Hampshire, the Iowa caucuses, and the South Carolina primary. Alina, 18 other people were indicted. We know that the goal is to get somebody or multiple people to flip and turn on the former president. Are you concerned about anyone in particular flipping?
Well, flipping implicates that there's a problem that the president should be worried about, and somebody's going to say something that would damage him. And so the answer to that question is very simply no. All of these individuals have probably gone through the grand jury process, if I had to assume. So their testimony is already held by the prosecutors. So anything they say that would contradict what they said in the grand jury would be perjury. At this point, that ship has kind of sailed. In terms of, again, flipping. I mean, flipping is when you have a real crime family and a real mob boss at the head with secrets, and that you're waiting for somebody to accidentally or feel pressure to turn around and say, oh, he made me do it. Well, that's just not the case. And the phone call has been publicized for 2 years. What's damaging to me and what's troubling to me is that she has waited 2.5 years on something that she could have brought before. The evidence against the president, according to her indictment, is that he tweeted to watch OAN, or he tweeted to watch Fox or Newsmax. Right. I mean, come on. What are we worried about? Flipping for what? The phone call's been recorded. It's out there. If you listen to the actual words he says, they're not problematic. And everything is laid out in the indictment. The flip is really, there's no there.
Right.
Yeah. The judge says he has to appear in court in Fulton County by Friday of next week. When do you expect him to go?
I would assume next week we will go. I don't know that it would be on Friday. I think that There's a lot of processes. It's by Friday.
Right.
We have Secret Service, obviously, who is in the ones that take the lead on these items. This is unprecedented. He's a former president and candidate, so there are a significant amount of processes and challenges, when these people require this. So we have to see how it goes.
Yeah, we know the former president
we will be surrendering.
Yeah, we know the former president is going to make an announcement on Monday, and then there's that debate on Wednesday. To me, just from an outside perspective, I say, why give the prosecution any additional time? Why not push it all the way to the end and report on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, that's up to him and Secret Service again. My only interest is that I make sure he does surrender, which has never been an issue. He's always cooperated with the law and the processes of the law and subpoenas, and he will continue to do so.
Do you think Fani Willis is aware of the Electoral Count Act of 1887, which allows people to question the results of elections? It's also permitted under the First Amendment.
If she's not, we're going to make her aware. We're also going to teach her a little bit about presidential Westfall Act immunities and all other kinds of things that she may not be aware of.
Right, and what John F. Kennedy did in 1960 in Hawaii, which I think is remarkable. Just a quick one, and this was fascinating. A lot was talked. This was talked about yesterday. I know you've talked about it. So the Fulton County indictment was posted on their website before the grand jury voted. Is that a violation, some kind of process violation?
Due process.
Okay. What'd you say?
Due process. That's a due process violation. Everybody's entitled to due process and rights. And those due processes include waiting for a grand jury to actually vote, to hear the vote, and then have the charges brought. She would have had to have signed or turned over, or someone from her office would have had to sign and turned over to the clerk in the court the indictment prior to the grand jury completing witness testimony and completing a vote. We know that because we had witnesses go from the grand jury straight to CNN and go testify that they were rushed in and they were supposed to be there the next day. So that's a violation of due process, yes.
All those cameras, too, following on the process it's not something we've seen before, too. Yeah.
More than just a clerical error, right?
Yeah.
Alina Habba, so good to see you. Thank you so much. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you.
All right. For more on the legal perspective.